next guest has quite the resume. A New York Times bestselling author, a former professional athlete. He's launched several multi-million-dollar online businesses and hosts one of the top podcasts in the world. Please welcome Lewis Howes.
Hi,
What's up? Lewis, I gotta give you the backstory here. Okay, over the course of the last year and a half, I've gotten at least 10 phone calls from mutual friends of ours that say, you gotta have this guy on. This guy is incredible. He's changing the world. He's the next Tony Robbins. Why do people love you so much?
I think I probably paid those people to call you and say that. But, you know, I feel like I just care a lot about people. I care about the people who listen to my podcast, who read my books, who are just connect with one-on-one. I feel like I just genuinely am interested in people. And I think when you're interested in other people, you become interesting.
Are you the next Tony Robbins?
I'm the first Lewis Howes.
Do you want to be the next Tony Robbins?
No, I want to be an original, one of a kind.
But he has inspired you. I know you know him.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I do know Tony. He's amazing. He's been a huge inspiration, but I'm not him and I can't be like him. I can be like myself. And I think when we try to be someone else, we're never going to fully step into our greatness.
Right.
So even though I appreciate all the stuff he does, you know, I speak on stages, I do events, I interview, I do different things, but he's a one of a kind and I don't want to try to be like him. I want to create my own experiences. That's
so if you're not one of Ryan's 10 friends who knows who you are.
Well, millions know.
I'm kidding. But if for those people who don't know who you are, how you got to what you are, I want to hear the backstory.
Are we talking like when I'm 6 years old? Are we talking like?
Yeah, tell it.
No. I always had a big dream to play professional sports.
Right.
Growing up, that was my dream, and I worked really, really hard. I didn't think I was that talented as an athlete, but I was willing to be committed to doing whatever it took.
Okay.
So I trained. You know, I've never been drunk in my life, so I didn't drink alcohol all through high school, all through college, just to give myself any edge that I could. Yeah. Not that it was bad or wrong or anything, but just to have an edge. And I was just so committed to achieving my goals as an athlete.
And then you got injured.
Then I got injured playing arena football, which is just a really rough sport. You know, it's like indoor hockey. You can see right here.
Then you ended up on your sister's couch for a year and a half.
Yeah, so after I broke my wrist playing football, and then I had a surgery. So I was on a cast from here to here for 6 months. You know the movie Rookie of the Year?
Yeah.
The kid in the cast?
Right.
I was like that kid, but after the cast came off, I didn't have superhuman strength like he did. I could just barely lift my arm. So it took about a year after that to recover. And
but then you recovered really quickly, and then you sold all of these online businesses, a lot of them centering around social media and sports. You became a multimillionaire, then you became a world famous podcast person, and you still weren't happy.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So none of those millions made you happy?
I thought they did.
Maybe you should have started drinking.
I should have.
No. What was it? Why weren't you happy?
Well, I think it's because I was trying to fit in and project what other people wanted me to do. I was trying to do things that I thought people would accept me for. Again, making all this money, I thought people would like me more.
Sure.
Achieving all these athletic goals, I was doing it to prove people wrong.
And to impress your dad too, right?
Yeah, impress my dad, but also to prove people wrong. You know, I was picked on, I was bullied a lot as a kid. I was in the special needs classes, I was dyslexic. Yeah. And I was always in the bottom of my class in academics, so I just felt insecure of myself.
But obviously there's something very driven and talented about you, because not many people can be sleeping on their sister's couch and then turn into a multimillionaire.
No, that's years of hard work. You know, I found great mentors, I found great coaches that helped me and guided me. And it started off very slow. For 2 years, I wasn't making anything. I was just trying to figure things out.
So how did you do it though? Like, how did you go from not making anything to owning your first business and then selling it and making more?
I was originally on LinkedIn. Are you guys on LinkedIn?
Sure.
Anyone on LinkedIn in the audience? Yeah, I was on LinkedIn. And I was using LinkedIn to connect with local business leaders. This was in 2008, 2009.
Sure.
I was trying to find a job, some opportunity, because I didn't have a job in football anymore. During that time, I was connecting with people. I was optimizing my profile to make it just look nicer so people would reply to me. As I was doing this, people would ask me and say, how did you connect with all these other successful people in Ohio and then in the country and in the world? how are you connected to them? Can you make an introduction? So I'd make introductions. Then they said, well, can you help me with my profile? And I said, sure. I started helping people with their LinkedIn
So did
presence.
that turn into a business?
One person said, after I did it, he goes, this is going to change my business. Here's $100. And I go, you're going to pay me to show you how to optimize your profile? I was like, okay, I'll keep doing this.
Cool.
So I kept helping other friends and became known as the LinkedIn guy and just helping people on LinkedIn. Then I started hosting events around the country, these LinkedIn networking events. And I started charging $5-10 at the door for people to come in. Started getting sponsors, started just learning how can I make a little bit of money from these events. As that grew, I wrote a book about LinkedIn. Then I did a course on LinkedIn so I could reach more people online. So just one day, one step at a time. I had no clue what I was doing, but I found good mentors. I found the right information online. All, it's all this free information online we can access. And that's what kind of launched the businesses.
Right. Didn't happen overnight. It was a slow progression. It built.
It's been 10 years, Yeah.
Right. And School of Greatness was your last book, and that was a New York Times #1 bestseller, and it's your podcast. This one, The Mask of Masculinity. Tell us what that title means.
For 25 years, I lived a lie. I held secrets inside that I felt like I wasn't able to share with my close friends, my family, and with anyone, because I didn't think it was manly. I didn't think it was masculine. I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I would fit in or be accepted. And so I started to open up about certain things that I was ashamed of, that I was insecure about, that I didn't want anyone to know about me.
You did this publicly?
I did it publicly. I did it,
Can you tell us what they were?
Yeah, I was sexually abused when I was a kid, when I was 5 years old, by a man that I didn't know.
Okay.
It's the babysitter's son. And for 25 years, I didn't tell anyone because I was terrified that no one would accept me.
And you felt embarrassed because of that?
I felt embarrassed, shameful, angry, anything.
Right.
All the emotions I felt. And it would hold me back. That plus many other things that I was that I went through would hold me back in certain relationships, in my business. I would get triggered very easily, and it would hold me back emotionally. So I would be driven to prove these people wrong. I was like, I'm gonna make so much money. I'm gonna be the best athlete. I'm gonna get the hot girlfriend. I'm gonna do all these things so I look good.
Right.
But it was when I would achieve those things, I felt so empty and alone inside.
And you blame all of these various masks that men tend to wear. Can you just briefly describe what those masks are?
Yeah, some of the masks, the stoic mask, the athlete mask, the aggressive mask, the material mask, sexual, alpha, the know-it-all, the joker. These masks are kind of like archetypes that men tend to lean into to protect ourselves.
And once you take all these masks off, what's there? Who is there?
Freedom and your authentic self.
Freedom.
So once I started first being aware of the masks that I was wearing, which were all of them.
Okay.
We usually have a couple of tendencies. For me, it was the athlete and aggressive mask. Anytime I felt attacked, I would instantly defend myself and be defensive and try to attack back. I needed to win at all costs, and I needed to be right at all times. And when that happens, if I'm the only winner, that means everyone else loses around me. If I'm the only one who's right, that means everyone else is wrong. And that's how I showed up in my life. Everyone else was wrong and everyone else was second place. And it's hard to have an intimate relationship with your partner. It's hard to have family relationships, business relationships. The key to success in life is relationships. And the key to successful relationships is vulnerability and being open.
Are you free now?
I think I'm fully free, but I also have tendencies that try to draw me back into wear masks.
Are you happy?
I'm very happy, yeah. I feel blessed because I get to do exactly what I want to do every single day. And for me, that's freedom. But that doesn't mean I have... Let's go. So for me, I still get triggered and I put the mask on all the time still. 25, 30 years of conditioning. It's hard to just be like, oh, I'm never going to wear these masks again. But what I'm able to do is I'm able to be aware of it. After 20 minutes of being angry or frustrated, I'm like, okay, why am I mad? Why do I want to be defensive right now? Let me take a deep breath. Let me get back to focusing on my vision and coming from a place of love and openness and seeing the world differently.
And is that the main message you want us to take home today?
I want men to be aware of the things that are hurting them and are making them suffer inside. I believe that a lot of men feel like the weight of the world is on their shoulders. I felt that for many years. And as men, I want to generalize this. It's not all men. But growing up in the Midwest, I grew up in Ohio. I played sports as an athlete. I was told that you couldn't express yourself emotionally. You couldn't cry. You couldn't be sensitive. You're picked on by other kids. You're picked on by whatever. The coaches tell you not to do it. And so just the conditioning over time, we don't form groups as guys typically and say, tell me how you're feeling.
Right.
Is there
It's
something
a sign of weakness
that's going on that's you're like hurting inside? Like that doesn't happen.
Okay.
But my girlfriends, I see are getting together every day over lunch and saying, "Here's what I'm going through, girl. You know, here's what's happening with me. I'm insecure about this."
Michelle
Here's my
Obama just said this with the president
Really?
when she was just in town this week. Yeah.
Here are the things I'm going through. My relationship, I'm challenging here. You know, maybe body image stuff, whatever it may be. Insecurities, where guys feel like we got to have it all together. Again, I'm generalizing here.
Right,
but-
right.
And unfortunately, we're out of time. But Lewis, now I can see why everybody's fascinated with you.
Yeah.
All right. The name of the book is The Mask of Masculinity: How Men Can Embrace Vulnerability, Create Strong Relationships, and Live Their Fullest Lives. And check out Lewis's podcast, The School of Greatness. Thanks again, Lewis Howes.